Hey, I'm Lindsay from The Rural Legend. One of the biggest questions I get asked a lot is how I style my shelves. I have a lot of thrifted vintage and antique finds and they need a place to go. And one of my favorite things to do is to display all of my collections on our shelves, on our console table. It gives me an opportunity to showcase all of the newest things that I found. And trust me, things get switched out a lot because there's always something new to bring home from the thrift store and it needs a home. So I rotate things a lot. I play around with styles and how things go together. And I wanted to teach you some of the tricks that I picked up along the way. Don't let shelves intimidate you. Don't let them intimidate you. They really can be easy. It just takes practice. And honestly, I will say this probably multiple times in this video, it comes down to just what you love and what makes you happy. If you fill your home with the things that bring you joy, it will always find a way to come together as one beautiful cohesive style, right? What do you think? Should we tell the people what they want to know? This is our family room. One of the big attractions to this house was these huge door windows with all this beautiful natural light and having a fireplace. Now, when we moved in, the fireplace was a normal reddish brick and we decided to paint it alabaster like the walls are now. And then a couple years later, we went black. And this bold, moody accent wall, it was just the best decision for our home. The other thing that's really changed a lot is the wall color. We started with this like cool gray blue color, moved to a really rich chocolate brown, not really doing it for me, and we went light. And then what really made this room pop is just all of this beautiful wall molding. It was such an easy process. This is pre-built, already primed, peel and stick wall molding, and it looks so great in here. The other thing that was a substantial change we did almost immediately was adding these built-ins. For whatever reason, on either side of the fireplace, there was already this recessed area. We just added pilaster tabs and adjustable shelves. I would really love to make them permanent and also to make the shelves deeper. We used some scrap wood that we had at the time. You can see that the shelves could easily be a couple inches deeper. And that would give me some freedom to style different things on these shelves. I have received so many requests to talk about how I style pieces like this console and how I style my shelves. So let's talk about all of the things that I've used and what led me to style the way that I did. If you've already done some research on shelf styling, you may have heard of the triangle technique. Essentially, you want to make sure that everything on your shelves makes little triangles. So you can see this shelf is a lot fuller. It dips your eye down to the swan, back up to the art and over, making an upside down triangle. Another way to think of it is look at your balance. If you have one shelf that's very heavy with decor, like this top shelf, consider just doing one substantial piece on the shelf below and then work your way back out for the next shelf. Think of it as like every other. One heavy shelf, one lighter shelf, another heavy shelf. I would do something that was just one piece down here if we had a fourth shelf. You also want to look at the color. So you can see there is a lot of gold and brass. There are some white accents with that bookend and the art frame and the candles. You want to coordinate your colors just enough that things feel like they go together. But honestly, with that being said, you could put a whole bunch of random stuff up on your shelves that you genuinely love and you would still find a way to make it work because it's things that you enjoy and appreciate yourself. That's the true style tip, is just to fill your home with things that you love because you can't go wrong. It will never be out of style when your home brings you so much joy, filling it with the things that you love. You can also see that with color, I've pulled similar colors from one side of our mantle to the other. So you can see some blue books here mirror the little blue and white ceramic shoe on the other side. Little accents of white like the roses and this little statue mirror the bookend, the mat, the candles, and even looking at the brass. There's some on this side with the little cricket box and that pedestal bowl. The brass continues over here with the swan, those frames, and then the candlesticks kind of balance everything out in the middle. The glass, you can see this little imperial biscuit jar up here and the cut crystal giant vase over here. Those coordinate with each other, and so it feels different and curated enough to be interesting, but nothing really clashes with one another. Another tip is to pair old and new. Now, obviously, I have an affinity for vintage and antique things, so there isn't anything necessarily new or modern playing around on our shelves, but you can tell that the styles are very different. The age is very different. There's some things that are very old and antique versus some more modern things. And then you play with the rustic, the books with their old spines, the old pages, paired with the more elegant and fancy brass, cut glass. Those balance each other out when you have rough and soft, shiny and dull, masculine, feminine. Those opposites really help to curate a space and help it to feel balanced. When we're talking about styling a tabletop, whether it's a coffee table, a sofa table, a console, a buffet, I always like to look at symmetry and also not symmetry, if that makes sense. I like to focus on one piece in the middle. It just helps to anchor the space. And then even though things are different on either side, you can see there's some symmetry in the fact that there is a giant brass candlestick on either side. This symmetry can happen with 2 lamps, if that's more your style, 2 pieces of art, a stack of books on either side. You can see that the books are different colors, different sizes. This one is a stack of 5 books. The other is a stack of 2. And I don't know if I necessarily was intentional about it at the time that this stack over here is green. The stack on the other side is maroon tones, but I kind of dig it. And I also love that the red books pull some of those reddish and orange tones from this Italian porcelain terrine. My number one rule for styling a shelf or a console table like this is don't make everything the same height. It gets boring, it feels flat. Lean a piece of art against the wall or the back of the bookshelf. Adding different depths and heights is really going to move the eye around to give it a lot more intrigue and help a space to feel curated and a lot more luxe. If you're just getting started, one tip I would have is just to collect a whole bunch of things that make you happy, that bring you joy, and set them out in front of you and see what you have and just start to play. Stage things, see what looks good together, coordinate things based on height, based on age, based on color. It doesn't have to be matchy-matchy. That kind of gets too boring. If I had an entire bookshelf filled with only brass, it would feel very, very stark. Even though brass is beautiful, you need some other interests in your collection to make it feel curated. The longer I sit here, the more animals join me. I hope that you found this styling video helpful. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of these. What other spaces in your home do you feel intimidated to style? What other tips would you like to know? I would love to make more videos like this showcasing different spaces in our home. Do not be intimidated by shelves. It just takes time and practice to figure it out. If I look back on images of our home from 5 years ago when I started the Rural Legend, sometimes I cringe at the way that I styled my shelves. Our style is constantly evolving, and I certainly know a lot more now about my own style and about how to make things look good together after years of experience. So take chances, photograph things, stage it, live with it for a while, and see what feels right to you, because that's really what it comes down to.